Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV and, of course, another United Daily Live. Apologies, we're a little bit later on in the day today. I have had an absolute busy one, been back and forth from Manchester, but now we are here to get stuck into the latest news. And what better time to do that as the internet is going crazy because of the news that Sancho has agreed a deal in principle with Manchester United ahead of a possible summer transfer window move. Now, let's look into that. Where is it coming from? What newspapers are saying this? Why are they saying it? And what does it mean for Jadon Sancho and Manchester United? Does it mean a deal is done? We'll also be looking at the latest report or tweets from David Ornstein in relation to Paul Pogba. We'll be looking at gossip relating to Eric Bailly potentially leaving Manchester United, which I'm not happy about. Of course, Inter Milan have Alexis Sanchez now until the end of the domestic campaign, as do Roma with Chris Smalling. But Manchester United have played a very clever card, and they've kind of used the Europa League being in August as an attempt to say, look, if you want them to play in the Europa League, you're going to have to get these permanent deals sorted. And we're hearing potential permanent deal news on Alexis Sanchez as well, which is great. We've also got some quotes coming from the press conference ahead of the Bournemouth game as well. So this could be an action-packed United Daily Live for you, and we may be going over the allotted half an hour, but that's all good. We've obviously not had all of our videos today, so we don't mind that. I can already see loads of you in the comments. I can see Sean, Bud the Red, I can see Brixton, Nathaniel, Case, Tian, Jordan, Joshua, Paul B, Habiba, Sean, Ralph, a lot of you who have come over from the Discord chat as well, where we're trying to help someone with a little bit of password worries. That's what goes off in the members Discord. If you want to become a member, then make sure you're hitting that join button, and you've still not missed the latest members video, because I've been a little bit delayed in getting that one out. So there's going to be 2 members videos this month, and they're coming up. The next one's coming up very soon. So get hitting that join button as well. Help us hit 200 members by the end of August. But right now, let me get my phone out. Let's get these quotes on Jadon Sancho and what is going on with him, because we've heard, this is what we've heard today. This is what's floating around Twitter. So Jadon Sancho has agreed a 5-year deal in principle with Manchester United. Sancho will earn £140,000 per week, rising to £200,000 per week during the course of that 5-year deal. United are getting closer to the signing. Jadon Sancho's agent was working on Bukayo Saka's contract. Obviously, he signed a new deal with Arsenal and will now focus on Sancho's deal. That, though, comes from Duncan Castles. Now, Duncan Castles is very, very reliable in terms of news on, let's say, Jose Mourinho, Jorge Mendes, those kind of people. Now, I'm not sure whether he has a long-standing relationship with Jadon Sancho's agent or with anybody close to that deal, but that is what he's reporting in relation to Jadon Sancho, that a 5-year deal has been agreed in principle. He will earn £140,000 per week, rising to £200,000, and United are getting closer to the signing. The Express, one of their journalists, not the most reliable, The Express, but one of their journalists have also tweeted, Manchester United have agreed a 5-year deal in principle with Jadon Sancho ahead of a possible transfer. A fee with Dortmund still needs to be sorted, but Sancho would pen a contract worth as much as £200,000 a week. So there's still comparisons and there's contrast in that. And United are still looking at alternatives as well due to the asking price. So this is what we're hearing from this. We also heard on the transfer podcast from Ian McGarry, where he purported that, you know, in the same podcast with Duncan Castles, that deal had been agreed. So it's interesting, these reports, and of course the things to get excited about when you continuously hear these rumours linking with Jadon Sancho with United, especially after the one we heard when, you know, United were looking at 50 million. Now that £50 million one, I was going to talk about it in Weekly United, which I've had to can this week. But that £50 million thing, it's almost like United and Borussia Dortmund have been engaged in bidding via the media and via newspapers and via people like Sky Sports News and all those kind of people. You've had Borussia Dortmund's CEOs and coaches and managers continuously talking about Jadon Sancho and how he could leave, but for the right price. they're not dropping that price because of the coronavirus pandemic. So you've heard this an awful lot from Borussia Dortmund in the press and in television media and radio, etc. So now that wouldn't surprise you if in turn Manchester United were then pushing and briefing people in regards to their chase for Jadon Sancho. Because if these are to be believed, and you hear about, you know, a deal being agreed in principle, which we heard a couple of months ago. I think we might have heard it in January and we heard it in March. We've heard it an awful lot in relation to him having a deal agreed in principle, and that wouldn't surprise me because of the simple fact that Jadon Sancho's move from Borussia Dortmund has been, you know, it's been the worst kept secret, and him wanting to come to the Premier League is also no secret. Him wanting to come to Manchester United, I'm a Man United fan, so I want it to be true. But there's also been a lot of rumours about him, you know, wanting to join United. So everything seems to tick these boxes in terms of this being true, and, you know, a contract or some form of agreement being had between the agent, between the player, and between the club before a deal has been agreed with Dortmund. But I have to say this as well. We would have seen things like this for Alvaro Morata when we were very close to signing him, and then we shifted gears and we went to Romelu Lukaku. We would have agreed, you know, contracts or potential contracts with players in the past, and then had to, you know, go to the meeting room with their clubs and agree a fee. If you can't agree that fee, then ultimately this deal in principle means absolutely nothing. So it's almost like a gentleman's agreement. All right, Jadon, we'll pay you this money, and I think United are in a position to easily, you know, agree a deal with Jadon Sancho and his agent. You know, he's not going to be on vast amounts of money at Borussia Dortmund, and, you know, United will be able to blow a lot of teams out of the water in terms of the bidding for his contracts. So, you know, United agreeing a deal with him isn't the difficult part. So these stories wouldn't surprise me at all. So then you have, okay, you know, can we get this deal agreed? And as I said, it seems like the clubs are engaging in no official bidding yet, but engaging in sort of like a warfare and a bidding war in the media. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. But you also look at the fact that, you know, United have to agree a fee. We get this fee done. Is our player? We've still got a season to go, so this is going to roll out for a little bit now. We're going to see a lot of reports like this and people just discussing the deal, and it doesn't look like anything new has come of it. It doesn't look like there's anything new here, and that's the thing. The only thing they've gone further with is saying, well, actually, here's how much the contract's going to be worth. Here is how long the contract is. So it's positive news, but nothing to get carried away with, I would say, because, you know, anything can happen. But at the same time, you've seen in Rumour Rater, I'm quietly confident that Manchester United are going to sign this guy. Quietly confident. So I say quietly, I've been saying it on videos, so not so quietly confident that Man United are going to get him. Now let me know what you guys are thinking in those comments below. We've also got an update coming up on Paul Pogba, Eric Bailly, Alexis Sanchez as well, with these latest reports that Manchester United have agreed a deal in principle with Jadon Sancho for a potential move to Manchester United. Now this also comes hot on the heels of the news that Jude Bellingham has agreed a deal to join Borussia Dortmund. Now, have United backed off that deal in order to smoothen things in terms of the Jadon Sancho deal? Those kind of things do happen, and especially if, you know, Jude Bellingham's been informed, yo, Jadon Sancho's leaving. You're going to be able to hopefully step into that position, and who knows where you can be in a couple of years. So let's see how that one goes. But it does look like things are falling into place for Jadon Sancho to be a Manchester United player. Just going to dive into the comments now as well. So we've got Bryce Menezes, who's jumped in with a super chat saying, I hope we get a technical director ASAP. Ed drags the deals to save 5 or 10 million and just takes the fun out of it. If only we got Bruno at the start. And that, not getting Bruno at the start was really disappointing, wasn't it? It was really disappointing, but we've got him now. Now, I know what you're saying in terms of the technical director, and I think that's a possibility, but we seem to be doing business a little bit different under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, although you say that, and we dilly-dallied over Harry Maguire and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So you could be right. You could be right. Ed Woodward's not the best guy for these transfers, is he? How you doing, Glenn? Hope you're doing well. And you, Sam Drew. Subic says Sancho will sign, but only in August. CCR says, Adam, why have we got so good at transfer recently? What has changed? I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a clear... I don't like what we just alluded to there. I don't think we've actually got better at negotiating these deals. It's still the same people in charge of negotiating the deals. But what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer seems to be doing, which makes the deals easier to happen, is we're not chasing after players that potentially don't want to be there. Like with Dybala, we called that one off ASAP. We saw there was a chance, went for it, didn't get him, called it off. Now in the past, under other managers, we may have dragged that out a little bit, in the hope that we could have got him. Now, we haven't done that. We've got players that want to join United. When you look at every single one of them that have joined, Bruno, Harry Maguire, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Daniel James, Odion Igalo, they all want to join Man United. So getting players that fit that profile, young, apart from Igalo, going to be improving, going to want to play for Manchester United, play for the shirt. They all fit that profile, so it makes the deals easier to happen. Same with Jadon Sancho. If this is true and you've agreed a deal in principle, then it shows that he wants to join Manchester United. He wants to join Manchester United. So it's another one of them ones where it makes the deal easier. All you've got to do is agree the deal with the club. Now, we've seen how difficult that's been. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we dragged it out. Harry Maguire, we dragged it out. But sometimes maybe because the player wants to join your club, because they're committed on joining your club, you can drag it out a little bit. Because you've now got that little bit of bargaining. No other club wants him or is going to be able to get him. So, you're going to have to sell him to us. So you have that little bit as well where the player's probably, forcing the hand of the club a little bit more. So I think that's where it's changed in terms of the manager is targeting the right players. We're maybe not leaving it down to the club to target these players. Yes, Killian, how you doing? Bottle in one hand, phone in the other. Yes, Reedy's finally joined us. Aaron Nala, thank you very much for joining AdamMcKola TV. I appreciate it. I think we've dropped a little bit under 110 at the minute, so we're on about 108, 109 now. 91 away from the target by the end of August. If you can, get clicking that join button. And for those members that haven't joined the Discord yet, and for Aaron, I'll be posting a Discord link in the community section very, very soon. Who would I take from Bournemouth and why, says Jeevan? We're playing Bournemouth soon. If you let go of a few defenders, possibly Ake as a backup. But that's it, really. They're getting relegated for a reason, aren't they? We got Tommy Edgar with the super chat as well, saying, apart from Sancho, who else would you sign if you could only sign one more? Also, 5-0 tomorrow. There could be some goals for United tomorrow. Make sure you check out the watch along. We'll be live for the watch along, match day live on AdamMcKola TV. We'll have the match review up after and the live fan cams as well. So make sure you're there for that. Who else would you sign if you could only sign one more? So we can only sign one more in Jadon Sancho. Jack Grealish. That's a bit daft because we need a DM, but you'd expect Matic is staying next season, so you're probably not going to get that DM. Anthony says, sorry, I'm late. Where's the Sancho news come from? It's come from various sources. So you've got people like the Express and that reporting it. But the main bit came from Duncan Castles in his podcast. But it's also repeat of news that we've seen in the past as well. Now, as promised, obviously for those that joined us late, the latest news, I say, in regards to Jadon Sancho is that we've agreed a 5-year deal in principle worth 140,000, rising to 200,000 during the season per week during his contract. United are getting closer to the signing. Sancho's agent was working on Saka's contract. Saka signed for Arsenal recently and will now focus on Sancho's deal. So I suppose that's where the fresh bit of information comes in all of this. As for Paul Pogba and that news that we said was going to come in relation to that, wow, our friends at United Report have tweeted this as an update from David Ornstein, and they said, in talks with potential signings, Manchester United have been clear that they need to gain some clarity on what's happening with Pogba, so they know what financial position they sit in from a squad vacancy point of view. So this is what United Report tweeted today at 4 o'clock. And then what happened was, David Ornstein replied to that. David Ornstein is pretty reliable. And he said this info was from a while ago. So he's agreeing with the information being correct. But he's saying it's old news. It's all changed. So this is his full tweet. This was info from a while ago rather than lately. All recent indications are that Pogba is settled and staying. So all recent indications from Manchester United is that we've got clarification on Paul Pogba's future and he's staying at Manchester United, which again, you know, that everything feels too good to be true at Manchester United at the moment. You got Liverpool with the worst defeat by a defending champion in God knows how long. You got Chelsea losing. You got Spurs losing. You've got whoever else around us losing. Leicester losing. United have closed that gap on top 4. And everyone's playing well. Everyone's looking happy at the club. Jadon Sancho has potentially agreed a deal in principle. And Paul Pogba's staying. Everything's going in the right direction for United at the moment. That worries me because it feels like it could be derailed very, very quickly. But fingers crossed that's not the case. I suppose it's a huge credit to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, in that the job that he's doing has made this possible, or made this position possible. Because you look at it, we're still 5th, you know what I mean? We still have to get 4th, we still have to get 3rd, we still have to get Champions League football, we still have to hopefully win a trophy. So whilst it is all positive, we still need to deliver on the pitch and get the results. And look, I know we'll look at some of the quotes from the press conference in a bit. That game tomorrow, we have to be winning it. It's a must win. It's a should win. It's everyone thinks we're going to win, but we have to win it. There's no ifs, buts or maybes. We can't be throwing away that chance to grab all of those points. If Pogba is staying, then no point going for Grealish, says Stuart. I disagree with that. Although I agree in the sense that we probably won't. So I think it's probably unlikely with Pogba staying that we go in for Grealish. I think we should go in for Grealish because it shows intent. Look at the bench that we've been bringing on. We brought on Andreas Pereira the other day. You know, we're bringing on Juan Mata. I love Juan Mata, but he's not getting any younger. Bringing on Jack Grealish, or starting Jack Grealish sometimes, is a great squad. And I think we're the only club that thinks like that. And we need to stop thinking like that to get to where City and Liverpool are at the minute. Because, especially City, you look at their bench, Bernardo Silva. He doesn't start every game, but he's a top quality player and he plays every so often. So, I think we've got to sign these kind of players and we've got to improve the team as much if we want to close the gap and get there. They're long seasons as well, especially when you got Champions League football. Baz1 with the super chat as well says, would Grealish ease up on the sauce for Ollie? I don't think so. I think Ollie would encourage it in the right areas at the right times. I think Jack Grealish is made for Man United, you know. When you look at the style of player he is, the attitude he has, the work ethic that he has, I think he's just made for United, made for us. Yes, Ryan, how you doing? Where will we play Sancho? I think it's obvious, right wing, isn't it? And I know everyone's saying Mason Greenwood. Well, Mason Greenwood's still 18. He's going to be playing an awful lot. We have to think of the squad, and we're awfully imbalanced on that right-hand side. You get the right-hand side sorted. Imagine you got Greenwood rotating and changing with one of Rashford, Martial or Sancho. That's a great front four to have. And then if you have Igalo as backup, you're bringing a Grealish and you got Pogba, Grealish, Bruno behind them, all kind of rotating. You got Fred, McTominay, Matic battling it out for those deeper positions in midfield. Yo, we should be challenging for the league. Prince Fargis with another super chat says, we need squad depth if we need... You need squad depth if you need to challenge for titles. That's true. We need that squad depth. So I guess Prince is agreeing with me that we should sign someone like Jack Grealish, although you'll have to clarify that for me. Get your super chats in, get joining AdamMcKola TV. As we move on now, I want to read this stuff about Alexis Sanchez. We're not going to pay the Eric Bailly story too much mind because it's probably bollocks, to be honest with you. considering where it comes from. But let's look at Alexis Sanchez. He got a goal and 2 assists the other day when Inter beat, I think it was Brescia 6-0. But check out this for a stat. 18-year-old Mason Greenwood has scored the same amount of goals for Man United as Alexis Sanchez, Radamel Falcao, God damn, I love Radamel Falcao, and Angel Di Maria, or Angel Di Maria, combined. Those players got 9, 13 in 77, 8, 106 games combined, 13. Mason Greenwood's got 13 in 44 games. Ridiculous. The kid's an absolute genius. The story in regards to Alexis Sanchez is Inter Milan are ready to make it a permanent deal. Now, Manchester United have seemingly, obviously we've accepted that they're going to stay at the clubs, Alexis and Chris Smalling, Inter Milan and Roma respectively. We know that they're going to stay at these clubs now for the end of the domestic campaign. That's fine. But United have only extended it to the end of the domestic campaign, and that's clever because both of these clubs are in the Europa League. We're going to face them in the Europa League. So if they want to keep these players, they need to be signing them permanently. And that's a great move by Manchester United. And now we're hearing that from some reports in Italy, Goal, a few other places, that Alexis Sanchez could be on the verge of an £18 million move to Inter Milan. £18 million. Imagine we can get 20. I'd give him for £8 million. £18 million. If we can get that much for him, we need to snap their hands off and grab it now. But yeah, great news if we can get rid of Alexis Sanchez on a permanent deal, because that's probably hogging up a lot of the wage bill as well. And then you get some money in for him as well. You chuck that £80 million towards the Sancho fee or whatever, you're looking good. So yeah, we need to get rid of Alexis Sanchez, and it looks like we could finally have done that with the news that Inter Milan potentially want a permanent deal. So this is the story. Inter Milan ready to make Man United flop. Alexis Sanchez's loan deal permanent in £18 million deal. I suppose he's scoring and getting assists at the right time, despite only 2 goals in 13 appearances for Conte's side. Inter are considering turning Alexis Sanchez's loan into a permanent deal for £18 million this summer, despite an unconvincing campaign in Italy so far. He's expected to stay at the San Siro for the remainder of the 1920 season, and despite his bit part role, Antonio Conte is considering keeping him on past this summer. The report also indicates that although the forward will see out the league season with Inter, United are reluctant to allow him to play in the Europa League for the Italian side in August if they advance past the last 16. The £18 million figure United are demanding may be seen as a bargain by Conte compared to his other transfer targets, and could be tempted by the deal. Because you hear as well, obviously, Lautaro Martinez could be leaving Inter Milan. So they're going to be looking to bring in some players to replace him. They're already very active in the market. So this one wouldn't surprise me at all. I hope it's true. I really do. Now, let's look at this. Actually, forget the Eric Bailly story. It came from the Sun. It's not true. And if Eric Bailly leaves, we riot. So that's fine. Let's move on to the quotes from the press conference. Got lots to get through today. Sorry I ain't been reading any of your comments. I can see we've got almost 1,000 in though, so get hitting that like button on this video. This is United Daily Live. We are live every single day on AdamMcKola TV, usually at around 12 o'clock. So get subscribing, get hitting that notifications button, get joining if you can for exclusive content and to support the channel. And of course, get your thoughts in the comments as well with your comments and your super chat. We have got, one sec, where's these quotes? Right then. This is what Solskjaer said in a press conference. I've seen lots of quotes saying we have an easy running, but next 5 games, Bournemouth, we lost against them earlier in the season. Villa, we drew at Old Trafford. Southampton, we drew to them. Lost to Palace, lost to West Ham. Now, first of all, that just makes me feel sick because that's 3 points to West Ham, 3 points to Palace, 2 points to Villa and Southampton, so that's 10 points. And we lost against Bournemouth. That's 13 points. So imagine we just got 2 wins out of that them 5 games, which, you know, should be minimum. We should be getting is 3-4. You'd be cruising top 4. You'd be third. Couldn't. Oh. But it's good to see Ali talking about this because of the fact that, obviously, like, we need to keep the players focused. It's all feeling good at the moment. Everyone's feeling good. United fans are feeling good. The players are clearly feeling good. Potentially signings are coming in. You know, everything's looking good at the moment. You know, money coming in for Sanchez, which we never thought would happen. But we need to keep the results coming in. We need to keep performing on the pitch. And when you look at the results that we've got coming up, you know, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Southampton, West Ham, Palace. Difficult games, but games we should be winning. Difficult games because the likes of Aston Villa, they're fighting against relegation, but you should be beating them. Should be beating Bournemouth, should be beating Watford, should be beating West Ham, should be beating every single one of these teams. So there's no excuses for us not, and I'm glad Ollie's not just relaxed, because if he's saying that in the press conference, he should be saying that behind closed door. So I'm happy with that. I don't see any reason to complain with Ollie's comments in relation to, you know, that kind of thing. So all is good in the hood. Now, for you like that have joined us late and have joined us for obviously the headline story, which is Jadon Sancho, a deal has been agreed in principle. United have agreed a deal in principle with Jadon Sancho ahead of a possible transfer. Fee with Dortmund is still to be sorted, but in Duncan Castle's podcast, take the reliability as you will, they said that a fee has been a wage fee of 140 grand per week, rising to £200,000 per week during his 5-year deal, has been agreed. Now we just need to sort out a deal with Dortmund. They've obviously been going back and forth in the press and in the media, and hopefully we can get a deal sorted soon so this transfer goes ahead. But you have to take it with a pinch of salt because no fee has yet been agreed as well. But we've been hearing this kind of story for a long time. So yeah, man, let's see what happens. Bournemouth up tomorrow. Remember, we've got the previews already up. Got the watch along tomorrow. We've got fan cams live. We've got my review. So make sure you're joining us for all of that on AdamMcKola TV. The live stream will start half an hour before the game. So that's at 2:30. The fan cams will start at, I believe it's 5:30. And we'll have our review up at around 7 o'clock. So make sure you're here for all of that on the channel. For now, let us know. I believe it. I don't necessarily believe Duncan Castles, but I believe that Jadon Sancho wants to join United. We would have spoken to his agent. We would have alluded to a deal, and they would have said, all right, that's sound. Now you like go and get a transfer fee agreed. These things happen, but I reckon they happen with a lot of players. I reckon United will, you know, say to players or agents, "Oh, how much do they want? All right, we'll give him this." And all right, cool. And now you got to go agree a deal. If you don't agree a deal, you're not going to get the player. So there you go. Anyway, guys, 9 out of 10, Jadon Sancho joins United. Is what I'm saying. Caustic says he's heading off. So thank you for tuning in. Jones has the widest variety of facial expressions. Why are we talking about Phil Jones Brackard? That's a random one. Are we talking about getting rid of him or something like that? Nice one, Prince. Thank you for getting involved. Thank you for your super chat earlier as well. Killian busting out those emojis. The members only emojis. Remember, join the channel. Support the cause. Keep it locked. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Like this video right now. Can we hit 500 likes before we head off? And for now, I have been AdamMcKola. I'm out of here.